Hey everyone. Okay, so here we are, everyone. The final chapter of My Hero Academia, chapter 430. And if I was to kind of sum up my thoughts on this chapter and just kind of the series as a whole, I'd say bittersweet, but lacking. And what I mean by that is, like, the chapter itself is a very bittersweet chapter. I gotta say that, and it's probably the best way you could have possibly Horikoshi could have ever ended this series. But when I'm looking at the series as a whole, I'd say it had a lot of highs, but when it dipped, it had a lot of major lows. And the thing is, I don't think I can really even properly blame that on Horikoshi, because as Horikoshi had stated a few years back at Comic-Con, he made it clear the villains were kind of the reason for the series dip. Like, he wasn't allowed in order to fully tell the full story of what he wanted. Like, we only got when telling the story of My Hero Academia, at the end of the day, we've only gotten half the story because he had to throw out a large chunk of the other half, which was focused on the villains. And as he stated, the villains themselves, when it came to Japan, they just fucking hated the readership of Shonen Jump in Japan hated the villains, absolutely hated them. And so it's like he was forced in that position of cutting large chunks of the story out that were supposed to be in there. And I think, in a way, this is one of the big things I take away from My Hero Academia is I will always weep for the story we didn't get over the story we did. And it's proof to me, at least, that My Hero Academia, it needed to be on any other magazine but Shonen Jump. I think in any other magazine that has less restrictions than Shonen Jump, or less less of an ardent fan, ardent group, I guess, against what Horikoshi was doing, then it feels like it should have been in Kodansha or something. I don't know, but just any other magazine. But then again, I guess you just have to kind of work with what you got. So yeah, at the end of the day, I always kind of wonder what the story we didn't get over the one we did. I guess with My Hero Academia, but putting my gripes aside and whatnot, I do still gotta say I really did love this chapter. And one thing I like that it really reinforced is the idea of Izuku, even though it really reinforced the point that even though Izuku is quirkless, even though he's pretty much back where he was at the beginning of the series, he's never truly stopped being a hero. Izuku is where he is now, because of the path he's taken, because of the journey he's taken. And I like how it does reinforce that point that yes, even though he's quirkless, he's still very much a hero. He's still very much a hero in his own right. In his own definition. And I like how, and this is actually where Horikoshi pulls a bit of a sneaky trick that I kind of like, which is that even though yeah, it does show he is quirkless, he doesn't have one for all on him. He doesn't have one for all anymore. He still continued on being a hero, and as the final moments of the chapter showed, it was basically through technology, through basically development of technology that is allowing Izuku to continue being a hero going forward. And it is, it's funny in a weird, even though I did like the story of One for All and All for One, I think Izuku, for a lot of fans of this, for a lot of readers of this series, for a lot of fans, I think we can certifiably say that Izuku at the end of this series is kind of what I think we wanted Izuku to begin with. We wanted him to kind of be a quirkless hero, but with gadgetry, with all the gear and all that whatnot. It would have been kind of cooler to have him be that kind of hero. But again, I think but I think in a way like it's that kind of story of like it's because of Izuku like taking the journey he did that even allowed that to begin with. Like it required his journey with One for All in order for things to be in order for things to be to get to that point, for him to become the greatest quirkless hero imaginable in a way. So yeah, it's kind of a nice way of a nice way of bookending that kind of journey in a way that yeah, he's quirkless, still a hero though, still allowed to be a hero. And one thing I do aside from that, this chapter was just chock full of little moments that I just ate up so much. Like for example, obviously we see them we see the moment of that boy looking over on All Might's statue, and then you see Izuku kind of jumping in to save the boy and save one little boy, and then talk to the boy who was like, look, my quirk is like bottom of the barrel like like one of the worst quirks in my entire class, but is it even possible in order for me to live up to your legacy in order to become a hero? This is what the boy's asking Izuku, and Izuku just simply says, yeah, you can become a hero. It's flat up says, yeah, you can become a hero. It's that thing where it's like, yeah, and anyone has the potential to become a hero. It's Izuku kind of filling the role All Might was filling for him when he needed an answer to that question, and now Izuku is in that role saying, yeah, you can become a hero. Anyone in this world can become a hero, but I like how it is also you need to become your own hero, you need to become your own person kind of thing. It's again a nice little like full circle moment for Izuku there. And yeah, I also like how Izuku is a teacher in this one, like is a teacher, but by the end of it all, like he's on one hand he is a hero, but he's also helping like the future generation of heroes as well. So he's tackling the idea of heroism in multiple different ways, which I like. And yes, and obviously we get to see like a grown up Eri, a grown up Kota, and I think if I did have one problem, I would have liked to see more interaction between Izuku and Kota and Eri, but it was still nice to see that yeah, both Kota and Eri, but Eri especially, after all the bullshit Eri's been through, it's nice to see her grow up well rounded with friends and attending school and whatnot. So yeah, but and yeah, aside from that, like I said, so many little moments. Like I like the idea of like how when see in that classroom and they're saying, okay, what do you want to be in high school, and compared to the beginning of the series where everyone said, I want to be in the hero course, you see a little bit more diversity of answers to the questions. Like there are people who want to be in the technology development and design course. You see people with course who want to be doctors. Like there's a variety of different questions of how the future generation like sees their future in a world where, like, let's be honest, is more or less villain free, more or less. Like villains are still a problem, but they're probably not as much of a problem as they are like now. And on top of that, I do like how we got a little bit of a tease of a development of a hero agency that's run by Gentleman and La Brava. Like it's nice. It was nice to see, even though people like were never really big fans of Gentleman and La Brava, it is nice to see that even they have gotten their happy ending. That in their own way that they're helping out Hero Society, but by having their own agency in a way, by having their own like hero agency now too. And yeah, guys, like I said, that's pretty much all I got for this review. As a whole, I really did like this. I really did like this. I did really like this final chapter. It's just it was very bittersweet, and I also, and actually before I drop off, I do gotta say I did like that whole that whole big panel spread of like Izuku and all of graduated class 1A as in their hero costumes saying we're still moving on, we're still the heroes we were at the beginning of the story. Like we're still being heroes every day of our lives. And so yeah, it's as a whole, I really did like this chapter. But if I'm summing up my thoughts on the series, I'd say there was potential that just wasn't reached for that. It was a good series overall, but just there was a lack of potential due to just unfortunate circumstances, in my opinion. But yeah, guys, that's all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Analyst Crunchyroll. Be sure to notification bell, hit the subscribe button, and just share the video around, guys. Dark Knight of Night signing off. Later, everyone.